Today we will talk about XRP, what I think might be happening with all of the Web 2 company sell-offs, and some ties into the Ripple versus SEC case that makes some pretty interesting connections in the more esoteric end of things. So I didn't plan on this, but I posted a hypothesis that what if all of the executives of companies like Walmart and Amazon aren't cashing out on their equities because of a economic crash? What if they are using that to buy into DLT as crypto adoption becomes an actual thing and not just an idea? Well, Ashley Prosper responded to that and said that there is suspicions of an end to the case on February 29th. It's possible that the bags are being prepped now to buy in. And of course, that got me coming across a lot of other information that I was not actually trying to find, but I just couldn't help but make the connections. And I want to say here that I am not expecting an end to this case anytime soon. I even think that we won't see an end to it in April. But there are some interesting connections that have been made around this February 29th date. So I will touch on this in a bit, but 4 days after the death of my hero JB is the last chance to buy. When the time comes, you will know. And 4 days after JB is 13. And this post by David Schwartz that had a lot of interpretations around it could be interpreted in a very cryptographic way that is probably a long shot to mean February 29th of 2024. But I have thought about these more abstract, esoteric things in a logical way, and with these kinds of people, I don't think that they're allowed to come out and say a whole lot. And crypto equals cryptography, and I've shown a lot of things that he has put out that are very cryptic, and when you begin to connect them to real world events, things actually begin to make a bit of sense. And that's kind of troublesome for me because it's not 100% written down and it's not 100% provable. But I do think that the people in power with companies like XRP, XLM, and SHX, I don't think that they're allowed to come out and say. And Tammy Camp has even said that hypothetically they are working with large enterprises and governments under NDA. And he did also have a poll that says, when should I flip the switch? Well, one option on that was February 29th, and there weren't a lot of other days in there that had any significance in 2022. But it is interesting that that would now come in 2024 when we are able to make the additional connection with JB. Well, that happened with, I will not say this name on here, but 4 days left would be March 1st, and that's March 1st, February 29th. That lines up pretty well. And there are some more things that David has put out that refer to 2024 being a late year. And this whole image of the frog was one that didn't really make sense at the time. But it is a leap year in 2024. And of course, it has some gematria in there, but I don't know about that. However, it does have some interesting ties. It says it's time, and it even has his name, and it even has XRP bull run. Here's a bit more on JB. The old financial system is dead, and the new one is about to rise. And that all comes at the same time that the unexpected unlock of 400 million XRP out of escrow happened. And it did have an interesting memo in there too. So February escrow was not executed. Welcome back Hodor and John Deaton. Well, if you look at the history of this, it also has some interesting notes in there from the past. So for example, from August 1st of 2023. Now, of course, our unlock here did not happen on March 1st. It happened on February 25th. So that is pretty odd. But to tamp down expectations just because of some cryptic entries in a memo, anyone could add that. It used to happen in 2018 all of the time, so it probably doesn't mean a whole lot. However, that doesn't really do anything to explain why this escrow unlock was 1 week early. Now, this goes back to the suspicions of an end to the case on February 29th, because I saw one tweet and I couldn't find it, but one tweet said that what if they are unlocking this from escrow as a way to have more cash on hand to pay some kind of a fine as a result of a settlement. Now, I don't think Ripple as a company would have an issue having that cash on hand right now, but that is a pretty interesting idea. Now, as far as timelines in the case go, the main ones are March 13th, April 12th, and April 29th, and a bit more on those from Ashley Prosper, with April 22nd being one of the more important ones, where parties to file a proposed timing for summary judgment. And once we hit that point in time, it is up to the judge to review and come up with a final say. I'm sure that there are some more things that can get tossed in, but as of that point in time, we should just have to wait to see what actually happens. Now, there are some interesting things happening with Ripple and XRP in April. From the 9th to 11th, they are sponsoring, and they are also speaking at Paris Blockchain Week 2024. And we have the AMM that is about to be passed again if we just get 1 or 2 more votes, and then that would go live in 2 weeks if it holds an 80% or higher approval rate. And of course, if you go as far as this, there's all kinds of content out there on the gematria with XRP, and it ties in a lot of other things. Now, I won't touch on any of it here because personally I think it's a stretch, but I have seen these kinds of things make sense more and more, where, for example, 589, if you take the prime numbers, the 5th, 8th, and 9th, then that comes up with some pretty interesting dates.